Billie Rose is a three-time Queensland Music Award finalist who has been releasing intriguing, alluring alt country singles. The latest is Slaying Ghost, which also happens to be the name of the EP it's on. So I'm going to ask her about the song, about the EP, about a variety of things. Hello, Billie.
Hello, nice to see you again.
It's lovely to see you. And you are in the northwest of Queensland. So summer has probably already started for you in the form of a wet season, I'm guessing.
It has no wet season, unfortunately, but summer is definitely, well, it's not officially here, but it feels like it's here, and it has been for a few months, unfortunately.
All right, okay. So hopefully you're in some air-conditioned venues if you're
I
close.
am.
Now, as I said, Slaying Ghosts is the new single, and it was written a few years ago. And given that it was written about someone who ghosted you, felt like the title took on a slightly dark turn. It's like I'm like you're slaying the person who ghosted you. But please tell us the story behind it.
Yeah, so I actually wrote this one over Zoom while I was living in Brisbane a couple of years ago with Peter Sheree. And yeah, it was that week I had getting a little personal here, but yeah, I had a date all lined up with this guy I really liked, and come to the day of the date, and I asked, confirming are we all still good to go, and never ever heard from him again.
Oh,
And I was, yeah, so I just thought it's happened to me. I've heard it happening to some of my friends and around, but I was like, it's happened to me. So I did what any songwriter does and chose to write about it. And yeah, during the writing process, I sort of was like, yeah, I wanted it to not be this sad song. I wanted it to feel a bit more gritty. So I had that in mind while writing it as well.
Mhm. So I suppose yes, everything is potential material, but you don't necessarily want to have to go through that stuff in order to get to the material.
That's right. Well, at the moment, I've been super happy, and I'm struggling to write because
Oh.
I'm like, what am I meant to write about? But obviously, I don't want anything terrible to happen. But it is unfortunately our unfortunate decisions, and what happens to us ends up being the best writing material.
Also, the timing was great because you were writing with Peter, it seems, at that time that this happened to you. So it would have been fresh when you wrote it. Did it feel like that therefore you were getting it out of your system by writing about it, or did actually it still linger a bit after you'd written the song?
No, definitely. I think got it out of my system, and I think we had a lot of fun doing it. So, and it wasn't that deep. I definitely like to dramatize my situations in order to get a better song. So, yeah, like none of my songs are really, the story behind it really is deep, but I like to, yeah, just add that extra yeah, exaggeration on, just to really get the point across to my listener.
I think it's absolutely your artistic license to do that with your
Exactly.
story. Because if you can't, yeah, it's not. I'm not going to say like it's a Rumpelstiltskin thing because that presumes you got hay and you're turning it into gold, but or straw rather. But it's that idea that you take the kernel or something and then make it into a song and expand that story.
That's right. And I think that's what I enjoy about co-writing, because I can then talk about my experience. And then, as you're talking to the other person you're writing with, you end up bringing up maybe conversations you've had with your friends. And then you sort of drag their experience into the song, right? And then it just ends up being no longer just about your story, but also, other people.
So does that mean you prefer co-writing to writing on your own?
Yeah, definitely. I think I love to get the bones of a song on my own, and come up maybe with like a bit of a melody and the idea. But I do like to always, get someone else in just to see, what else they could add to it potentially. I think it's really a great way to come up with a song, is to have someone else's input, because you may have never have thought of their idea.
Yeah. So you have written with Peter Sheree before. You wrote Can't Bring Back the Dead, and also Heartbreak, Subway Train, and possibly some others. So what works about that songwriting relationship?
Oh, she is crazy good. She's like word vomit. She's
Oh.
amazing at songwriting. So that definitely helps. But I think because we have such a good relationship as well, I feel comfortable to, be vulnerable around her. And yeah, usually it's just sitting on the floor in her lounge room, and yeah, sharing stories and just letting it all out, and then it turns into a song. So I think that's what's really special about songwriting with someone that you do have a relationship with, an established relationship with.
When did you first write with her?
Oh, Peter actually was my very first songwrite. So I wrote Superwoman with Peter when I was 15, I
Oh,
believe.
wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I actually had written Superwoman on my own, but it needed something, and it was my first attempt at ever writing a song. So I remember maybe someone had recommended Peter, or I had known her, but I didn't know she'd written songs. And then we caught up and she helped guide me. And then we established that relationship. I was like, wow, this is great. Like I want to keep doing this. And yeah, went from there. So a few years ago now.
Well, that is a long-standing relationship, and I suppose as time goes on, therefore, and the better you know each other, it'll be interesting for you as a writer to see what comes out.
Yeah, definitely.
So, musically, Slaying Ghosts takes a turn in the chorus. It's it amps up. It quite becomes, one could even say, a bit rock in the chorus. Is that something that came out during the production of it?
Yeah, definitely. So during the production, Garrett kind of, turned to me and said, why don't we just really wing this, and like let's just have fun with this. Like, are you comfortable with me doing that? And I was like, yeah, why not? Like I pretty much gave him a lot of creative control because I love his stuff and I trust him. I've recorded with him before. And when he said, do you trust me to maybe like do a bit of like a Nirvana type of style with this song? And I was kind of like, oh, I don't know. And then I was like, you know what, what's the worst that can happen? And yeah, he started playing around with just making that chorus really gritty, and I fell in love with it. And I love, stepping outside my comfort zone. And I don't want all my songs to sound the same. And I think that was the real magic of it, is he actually had so much fun producing it, because like he had told me he'd not really done much of that stuff before,
Mhm.
and neither had I. So it was very experimental and fun. And I think the only way to get the frustration of those lyrics across was to use, such heaviness in the production.
So Garrett is Garrett Cato, who has
Yes.
done quite a lot of country music and country music adjacent producing of late. And he's in northern New South Wales, from what I understand. So I would think logistically, if you're going to have songs produced with him, you need to batch them, right? Because you're quite a way away, so you have to go with a few in hand. So did you have a lot recorded with him? Is everything on the EP recorded by him?
Yeah, so everything on this EP is recorded by him. I did do two separate sessions with him. One just recently, which is not on the EP. They're unreleased. And then, no, sorry, my mistake. I've done three sessions with him. So I usually would go in and maybe book out 3 days or 2 days in the studio and smash out two songs over a period of time. And yeah, so Can't Bring Back the Dead and Slaying Ghosts were recorded at the same time, I believe. And then Black Dress and the other song on the EP were recorded at a separate time, or maybe I'm muddling that up, but regardless, it was two songs and two separate sessions.
So what makes him the right producer for you?
Good question. I think him as a human, he is a very gentle soul. I think I trust him. I feel like he can talk to me musically about, trying new things and helping me step outside my comfort zone, whether that be vocally or musically. Which I love that he wasn't afraid to, say, why don't you do this way and stuff. Because I really look for guidance in people that are doing well in their music careers. And he does have such a established career in recording and production and in his own. And I like a lot of the stuff he has already recorded. He's recorded with Jem Castelli, Ziggy Alberts, and I love that as well. And I feel like another thing I really love is he does everything himself. So it is just quite literally him and I in the studio. Um, and I think that's pretty magical that he does absolutely everything. And myself as well. So yeah, you're not having random people come and go. So I like that as well. And I love that his studio is just at his home as well. So it feels really homely. He's got his dog in the studio with us, relaxing. It's just a really good vibe.
So, from what you've been saying about Peter and about Garrett, it's obvious that you like to form relationships with collaborators, and that this is something that you must be feeling, or you wouldn't keep doing it.
Yeah.
That over time, it's being fruitful for you. There's this real value in having these long term relationships that are that's drawing things out of you as an artist, is what I'm getting.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's important when you're, yeah, being so vulnerable and doing something with music. You want the listener to, I guess, pick up on that, that, you know, you feel comfortable and you're doing something that's for you.
Because there are themes of a sort on, well, a theme of a sort on the EP, in that if you look at the track titles alone, we have Can't Bring Back the
That-
Dead and Label Me a Killer, and then we have Slaying Ghosts. So I looked at it and thought, there's something here. And I don't know if it's intentional, so I'm interested to find out if you just looked at those tracks and went, oh, they seem to have a theme.
You know, it was not intentional. And I had thought about doing an EP down the track. And then I was actually on a radio interview last year, and the man who was interviewing me said, you know, it's a bit of a theme, like it's a bit of a dark theme with some of your songs. And I was like, is there? And then I actually, that was the first time I'd ever thought it'd been brought to my attention. I thought there is. And then I sat down, I looked at the songs that I had released and the songs that I had sitting in my Dropbox ready to be released. And I thought there is definitely a bit of a dark theme, obviously a pretty crappy time in my life. And I thought, why not, you know, put them all together and wrap them up in a bow, and like almost say goodbye to that era as well, because I was quite young writing those songs. And I think you change over the years, and I've just got out of the studio not long ago with Garrett, and the two songs have just recorded a lot more, I think, vibrant in a sense. So it just felt right to add them all together. But no, it was definitely not intentional. And I actually thought, geez, am I okay? But yeah, not intentional, but it works.
Well, I suppose it's also a surprise to see what your subconscious throws up, really. Looking at those
Yeah,
songs, it was like, oh, I need to get some stuff out.
that's exactly right.
Mm. But that cathartic nature of songwriting, to get it out and then move on and then come to vibrancy. So the songs that you have just recorded, do you have a plan for when you're releasing them, or you're planning to record quite a few more and then see what happens?
I'm just thinking of releasing them as singles at the moment, and that was always what I was just going to do, is continue releasing singles. I sometimes find maybe releasing an EP or an album when you still have quite a smaller audience can be sometimes difficult to, you know, I didn't want any of my songs that I'd, you know, worked really hard for to get lost in an EP and potentially not be heard. So I wanted to give the same amount of love, money, time, and energy into each song
Mm.
as singles. And then I thought, once looking at the titles and realizing the stories behind the songs, I thought, let's make that EP. But they've all had their chance to stand on their own. So
Mm.
that's what I'm doing with Slaying Ghosts, is I'm giving it its chance to stand on its own, but I guess as the mother of the EP, you could
Yeah,
say.
right. Yeah, right. That's an interesting way to look at it, because there is so much to consider when you're an independent artist, or I think for any artist these days. And it seems to me that things change a lot. You have to, as an artist, keep on top of what's the right pace to release singles, and should I be going streaming first or to radio, or both at the same time, or whatever it is. So does it feel a little bit like you just got to strap yourself in and hold on sometimes?
Yeah, and I mean, yes and no, because I think logistically it is a very, very expensive thing to
Mm.
do. It's quite an expensive hobby, you know, down to recording, the flights to get down to record, the accommodation, and then just releasing a song itself. If you're doing it with a campaign, which I always would highly recommend, you know, that's also expensive. So as much as I would love to just pump out single after single in, you know, a smaller time frame, I just can't afford it. So
Yeah.
at the moment, what is supporting my music dreams and goals is my gigs, and my own money, and, you know, the help and support of my family. And, you know, by the time you've recorded and you're looking at a campaign, you're looking at thousands of dollars. So
Mm.
kind of the way I see is I release a song and then I sort of try and pump it as much as I can, and then I use that time to save. to do it again. And sometimes it takes a few months to save up that money again, which does suck. But I feel like if I'm going to put the money in to record it, then I want to
Mhm.
put money into what's the word? Then I want to put the money into push it out into, the world.
Mhm. So, if you don't mind talking about this subject, because as you just mentioned, it's important to have a campaign, or you feel it's important to have a campaign behind it, because some artists might think, well, it's not worth the investment. What can that do for me? But you have been doing it and getting the word out about your music. So, when you first started releasing music, did you think, oh, maybe I'll just try it on my own? Or did it from the start, did you think, no, I need some professional help here?
No, I've always had professional help. I think that comes from, just the recommendations from, my other musician friends. And I figure, I've just dropped a couple of $1,000s on recording it. Why put it out and then, the chance of it just falling to what my personal 1,000 Instagram followers, like it's just not enough. And I needed that help and that push. So I think it's definitely worth it. And at the moment, still being, an independent artist with quite a small following still, it unfortunately it's just not enough, followers to release something on my own. So having that help helps me, get the word out there. Like even talking to you, this is, been helped with Jules. And then yeah, the radio interviews, that helps. Like I just don't think, I think it is possible to do on your own, but I love having that help. And this industry is very much not, it's very much who you know.
Yeah.
So I think just having that also helps. But yeah, I reckon it is definitely worth having some type of professional support.
And I think most industries are a case of who you know, and not in a bad way.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
often not spoken about that so much relies on relationships. And we hear the phrase "nepo baby," for example. It's like, well, most people want to work with someone they know. Like they want to interview an artist they've interviewed before, and they like their music. They know they like their music. But I would also think for you as a songwriter and going to record songs, there's a lot to think about when you're choosing which songs to record. It's like, well, I am going to back this with a campaign. This is an investment. So when you're choosing what to record, are you thinking very much of that through line, I guess, to the audience? Like, I know this is going to have a campaign, so I can't just take a punt on a song that I think is half okay. It's got to be a song that's really good.
I think it definitely does cross my mind, but at the end of the day, I try to still continue to be authentic to myself and just what I personally love. If I am passionate about a song, then I want to put it out regardless of whether it was going to be a radio song or not.
Mhm.
And I think it's important to always, just follow what you love and don't release something just because someone tells you it might be good on radio. I think because it always comes down to your love and your passion for music. I wanted to create a song because it's what I love doing, and I want to share it with the world because it's what I love and I want them to love it. It does definitely cross my mind, and sometimes I do have these thoughts like, oh, like there are some songs that I've written but I don't think are strong enough to be recorded, or maybe I don't love them enough to put that money behind them.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it really is just taking a stab in the dark and hoping that someone sees something in you that you see in yourself.
Yeah, which is a great way to put it. I think also for you as a singer, it would be hard to go into the studio and record that vocal if you don't completely believe in the song you're singing.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, as a songwriter, you write, lots and lots of songs. And some of them aren't the best, some of them are great, but every song you write is still a good one, I think, because I don't know, it's a part of what you do. But just being able to look at your art in a logical way and think, like, is this really that great? And am I just plucking something because I need a record?
Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot to think about.
There is.
Now, I wish I were going to be in Townsville on the 23rd of November, because you are doing a show with Josie, the irrepressible Josie. So Have you performed on a bill before? If not, how did this association come about?
Have I performed where? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, on a bill with Josie before. Like, have you shared a stage?
No, I've not actually shared the stage with her. I have played on the same festival lineup as her. Well, I guess, well, yeah, I have, sorry. We played Buckwild Country's New Year's Eve last year. No, yeah, last year. And so that was great. But me and Josie are quite good friends. We text often. And when I got the email and I said, oh, this will be cool. And she said, you're welcome. And I thought, thank you so much, because she knows what it's like. We have lots of conversations, trying to get your name out there. So it is really, heartwarming to know that she took a chance on me as well, to be like, why don't you come along and you open up for my show, because she knows how tough this industry can be. And so yeah, I'm super excited. She's a great chick, and lots of fun. So it'll be a great night, I think.
Well, and also I think a great balance of musical styles and artistry and voices, and that is a consideration in putting together a bill. You don't really want to have artists who are really similar. She's got quite a different style to yours, but the audience, I think, will appreciate the authentic songwriting from you both and the authentic
Yeah.
voice singing from you both.
100%. And I'm just doing an acoustic set as well. And I believe she's got her full band. So I think it'll be nice to have a bit more of a storytelling, acoustic, laid back kind of vibe before she rocks out the stage. So yeah, it should be great. I haven't sang my originals to a paying audience for a long time. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm also thinking about the fact that you both played the Buck Wild New Year's Eve show. I'm thinking it's
Sounds
just
very on
seems,
brand,
seems
doesn't it?
well, and it also seems like it would be inherently a wild time. So I
Yeah,
don't know what
so
it was.
that was lots of fun. Yeah, so that was, yeah, the 31st last year, which we're nearly at now.
Indeed, do you have a New Year's Eve show this year?
No, I don't. I'm unsure what I'm going to do for New Year's this year. I mean, I played last year and it was a very quiet one. I don't think I even made it till midnight. So it probably wasn't as wild as you're thinking, but this year I don't know, but I don't have anything booked, so.
So as I said, that gig with Josie is in Townsville, and from what I understand, Townsville is developing or has developed quite the burgeoning live music scene. Is it a city you've played in before?
Yeah, so I have always tried to, I guess, keep my foot in the door in the Townsville music industry. Although I live in Charters Towers, I've always tried to, yeah, keep that opportunity open and travel to Townsville, because, there are more venues that are supporting live music. Unfortunately, Charters Towers only has one venue, that are two maybe, that do live music, and it's just not enough. So having that atmosphere in Townsville has been so awesome. So I sort of started off just playing at the Leagues Club on maybe a Thursday, then at Friday, and then yeah, got in contact with some other musicians and, asked if there was any other venues I should reach out to. And I guess word gets around and you get to know more people and your name ends up coming out, and then yeah, you get more gigs, and so it's been really great.
So I'm now thinking Townsville's going to become the new musical hub.
I think so. It's honestly amazing. There is live music on every weekend, pretty well Friday through to Sunday, sometimes Thursday, which is so good to see.
So looking ahead, you have these two singles you've recorded. I would imagine that you're thinking about what else you can do. Do you have some plans or ambitions for next year?
Well, at the moment, I am in talks with doing some CDs up, which I probably should have done a little while ago, but I'm doing that now. So I would love to get some CDs happening for my EP. And honestly, to be very honest, all I have been doing is applying for festivals and being rejected. So
Gotcha.
it sucks. It is tough out there. So as of next year, I don't have anything booked as far as, original shows.
Mhm.
Obviously continuing doing my gigs, but I'm just continuously, applying, trying to get my name out there, um, and hopefully get the opportunity to be able to sell my CDs. And yeah, trying to do that. That's where I'm at the moment, is yeah, just pushing and trying to become a content creator because apparently TikTok's where it's at.
Well, well, it has been for Josie. She's been great at TikTok.
I know. So at the moment, I'm on my phone trying to figure out ways to become viral because that's just it. And yeah, applying for festival after festival to try and get on.
And I do appreciate you being honest about that because it can seem from the outside, I guess, if no one knows that you do have to apply for festivals a lot of the time. It's not like festival directors are out there scouting talent because there's a lot to keep track of. And so you are putting in the effort to do all of that, and then it can result in nothing. And it's often because I know this just from my professional life in writing, it's to do with what the people putting together the festival think of the balance of acts that's going on. So it's not necessarily, oh, we don't like you personally. It's just like, oh, well, we're actually skewing more country rock this year. So we're not
That's
going to get.
right. And I do think too, from what I have gathered over, the many applications I have entered to festivals, is they're looking for someone with already, you know, um, I guess the way I would describe it is a lot of them want to see like a bit of a music resume, what you've done, how many festivals you've played, how many followers you have, how many streams you have. So they're looking for quite already an established artist. And that's what I'm really struggling with, is how can I become more established and get more opportunities to play, with a full band at a festival if no one's willing to just give, me a go.
Yeah.
So it's been a real struggle. That's like I'm really trying to get my head around. How can I get these opportunities if they're just, that's what they want, or how am
Mm.
I going to get them more followers? And I guess the answer is TikTok. And just, yeah, being a content creator is the only way to get more followers, and I guess hoping that the gigs I'm doing, someone in the audience might, scan my barcode and follow me and my support my music journey. But
Yeah.
yeah, it can be tough.
Well, also because content creation is not your core competency. You know what I mean? You are an artist.
It is.
And content creation is a very different mindset. So yeah, I think we've all grappled with it to a certain extent, but I think it's a lot extra to put onto artists, and it's a bit different to just like, oh, you should be good at marketing your own work. It's like this is a whole other making process. I'm already making music now. I've got to make content.
That's right. And I think the content that lands really well with an audience is when you're being yourself, and you're talking to the camera, you're letting them in, you're knowing them, letting them know who you are. But, for someone who may only have, 1,000 followers, and majority of them are people I went to school with, and, the Charters Towers community, I feel a bit embarrassed jumping on and be like, hey guys, like this is what I eat in a day. And like it is, because I'm like pretending that I've got this big community that want to know about my life, but majority of them are just like Joe blows that know me on a personal level. So it can be quite embarrassing. And I'm slowly starting to, I guess, grow up in the mindset of it's not embarrassing. This is what I've got to do. So that's been something I've been trying to work on this year, is just not being, shame, as we say, and just doing it, posting the video, posting the makeup tutorial, posting the get ready with me to go to my gig. Like it's just a matter of like swallowing your pride and be like, this is what I truly have to do to get my music heard. Like I'll do it.
Mhm.
And I don't care what, the people might think. And majority of the time they don't care. So
Well, and it's not embarrassing because yeah, you're sharing who you are, and that's not inherently an embarrassment. I think that's partly what
right.
I perceive as that, Australians still have the tall poppy syndrome, and we also have the cultural cringe. The combination is a bad one for artists because
It
it's
is.
very hard to. It's that exact thing of, oh, I shouldn't be putting myself forward. That is embarrassing. Whereas if you were from a northern hemisphere country, for example, you would just think, well, great, here I am.
It is, and it's funny when I'm away on like a holiday or doing a gig somewhere in Brisbane or something, it's just like a newfound confidence to post because I'm like, no one knows me. And you almost forget about like, I guess, where you come from. And then when I go back home, I'm like, oh, I can't go to Woolies. I've just uploaded to Get Ready With Me. What if they've seen it? So it is, it is just it's such a mindset. I guess. But yeah, you're so right. It is just all about getting to know someone on the internet. And I love watching those type of videos. So I'm just trying to, yeah, create that as well, I guess.
Yes, now you have to believe that someone will love to watch you doing it, which is absolutely the case. That's the other thing
Right.
I've discovered is that if you just put it out there,
It
people do
is.
want to watch it. Well, Billy, I wish you all the luck in the world with content creation. I do feel the pain, and I'm sure you will have content to create, but you also have music to create, and you have created some wonderful music. So hopefully people will find it that way. And we'll see you on festival bills shortly, I am sure. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.